Babes, somewhere right now, someone is getting ghosted.
Oh, absolutely. It's happening right this second.
Someone is drafting a risky text they absolutely should not send, hovering their finger over the send button.
A tragic, unavoidable certainty of human nature.
And someone is falling completely irrationally in love after a 3-minute conversation about, like, iced coffee, because apparently none of us have learned a single thing from watching Love Island.
Literally nothing. We are doomed as a species, honestly.
We really are. But babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And babes, we are so happy to have you here tonight. Welcome to the Snark Side.
The only place where we fully embrace the absolute chaos of summer romance, bad decisions, and, well, breathtakingly hot people making the most questionable life choices imaginable.
Which is basically our entire brand at this point, right?
I mean, we are nothing if not incredibly consistent.
We are. And listen, to you tuning in right now, whether you are stuck in rush hour traffic, avoiding your inbox, or just lounging on your couch, I just need you to know that the frozen strawberry margaritas are flowing in the studio tonight.
They're on deck.
They are poured. They are dangerously frosty because, babes, summer simply demands frozen drinks. It is a non-negotiable requirement.
Okay, I have to pause you there, though, because I need to ask a very serious, deeply analytical question about this whole frozen drink phenomenon.
Okay, hit me.
Why is it that the exact same ingredients, right, like tequila, lime juice, strawberry puree, maybe a splash of agave, why do they suddenly taste exponentially better, like a solid 50% better, the exact second they are pulverized with ice?
Oh, it's a completely different experience.
Right. But what is the psychological hold that a blended beverage has on the human spirit? Is it purely the temperature dropping our core body heat, or is it what I call the vacation illusion?
Oh, the vacation illusion. That is a brilliant way to frame it. It is absolutely that.
You think so?
Think about it. When you are holding a glass that is actively sweating condensation and you're drinking something fluorescent through a tiny, slightly impractical straw, your brain instantly shifts gears.
It's sensory teleportation.
Exactly. It literally transports you. You aren't sitting in your stifling apartment mentally reviewing a spreadsheet. You are suddenly on a cabana in Cabo.
You become entirely unreachable.
Yes. A frozen drink is an emotional boundary. It effectively says, I am off the clock and my only priority is brain freeze.
It really is an out-of-office auto-reply in beverage form. I love that. But I also think the blending process instantly elevates the perceived value of the drink. It's a sensory disguise.
Wait, what do you mean? Like, it hides the cheap alcohol?
100%.
Yeah.
You can hand me the absolute cheapest, most aggressively bottom-shelf tequila on the market. The kind that normally smells like bad decisions and regret.
The kind that gives you a headache just looking at the bottle.
Exactly. But if you run it through a blender with enough ice and throw a sugar rim on the glass, I will suddenly act like I'm at a 5-star resort in Tulum. The texture just masks the quality.
It's the ultimate equalizer. And I am officially declaring the frozen margarita as the undisputed drink of the summer. I mean, the Aperol Spritz had a beautiful run.
It did, a very aesthetic run.
And the espresso martini had us all vibrating at a high frequency all winter. But we are back to the blended, icy chaos.
And thank God for that.
But if we are discussing blended chaos, we have to address the elephant in the room. And that is the undeniable fact that neither of us can ever, under any circumstances, be trusted to own a Ninja slush machine.
Oh, it would be an absolute unmitigated disaster for our productivity.
We would literally never get anything done.
Never. If I had unrestricted 24/7 access to commercial-grade slushy technology on my own kitchen counter, the show would cease to exist.
We'd just be running a covert frozen drink lab.
We would be conducting unhinged experiments, freezing things that fundamentally violate the laws of mixology. I would be trying to make a frozen matcha martini at 10 in the morning on a Tuesday just to see if it works.
And I would drink it.
It's entirely too much power for one household to wield.
We would absolutely fly too close to the sun. Do you remember 2 summers ago when we tried to make frosé in a standard everyday blender?
Oh my gosh, the motor incident.
Yes. We nearly burnt out the motor because we were too impatient to let the rosé actually freeze into cubes. The kitchen smelled like an electrical fire for 3 days.
It was a very distinct toxic aroma.
Imagine us with actual dedicated machinery. But honestly, to everyone listening right now, I want to know where you stand on this. What is your ultimate frozen drink of choice?
Are you a margarita loyalist?
A pina colada defender? A strawberry daiquiri enthusiast? You have to let us know.
Yes, please validate our obsession with pulverized ice.
Now, before we even hit the record button tonight, we have to talk about the dinner we grabbed. Because, babes, can we talk about this food for a second?
We must. We were actively spiraling while reviewing our notes for tonight's show, and we needed serious sustenance.
And the comfort food orders we placed were chaotic in the best, most desperate way possible.
We entered a pure trauma response state.
We really did.
We looked at the menu and ordered everything that was beige, fried, or covered in melted dairy. It was a visceral reaction to watching Aiden navigate a relationship on television.
The stress was so real. I got the most aggressively loaded nachos you have ever seen in your life. I'm talking architectural layers here.
It was a structural marvel.
Guacamole, jalapenos, black beans, and an amount of liquid cheese that is probably a zoning violation.
It was definitely a hazard.
And you got a massive double smash burger and a literal mountain of truffle fries.
A double smash burger with the crispy edges and, yes, enough truffle oil to bankrupt a small European nation.
It smelled incredible.
It was necessary. And here's what's fascinating to me from a behavioral standpoint. I want to analyze why this specific category of food, like messy, structurally compromised, heavy comfort food, hits the human nervous system so differently after an exhausting day.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Right. What is the actual psychological mechanism behind consuming a burger the size of your head when you're emotionally depleted?
Okay, I actually read something about this once. When you are stressed out, whether it's from work, life, or in our case, analyzing the deeply toxic dating dynamics of reality television, your body enters a mild state of fight or flight.
Cortisol is just pumping through the veins.
Exactly. And nothing tells your primitive brain like the tiger has stopped chasing you and you are safe in the cave, quite like consuming 2,000 calories of dense carbohydrates and fats.
It's a biological override.
It is incredibly grounding. You physically cannot maintain a state of high anxiety about a work deadline when you are actively utilizing all your fine motor skills to prevent a loaded street taco from disintegrating onto your lap.
That is profound.
Right. It forces you to be entirely present in the physical moment.
That is a remarkably astute observation for someone who literally just wiped a rogue dollop of sour cream off her microphone cable.
Hey, collateral damage.
But you're right. It is sensory overload functioning as a circuit breaker for anxiety. The crunch of the chip, the saltiness of the fry, the warmth of the cheese.
It's a hug for your nervous system.
It delivers an instant, highly concentrated dopamine hit that requires absolutely zero emotional processing. You don't have to unpack the complex trauma of a truffle fry. You just consume it and feel marginally better about the world.
It's therapeutic, and I also think the environment plays a massive role. Like, patio season automatically, scientifically makes food taste 20% better.
It is a documented fact.
Sitting outside, the sun is just starting to set, there's a slight breeze, you have a frosty drink in your hand, and you're making an absolute mess with some nachos. That is the peak summer comfort experience.
It is unmatched.
So I want you guys to think about this too. What is your ultimate mood-altering summer comfort meal?
The patio setting is a crucial variable in that equation. But speaking of outdoor summer environments, this actually bridges perfectly into a major dilemma I am currently facing.
Ooh, tell me.
I need to run this past you because I received an invitation this morning and it has sent me into a logistical tailspin.
Okay, tell me everything. Set the scene for me.
So I have been invited to a beach fire pit gathering this coming Friday night.
Wait, babes, that sounds absolutely magical. Why are you stressed?
Magical.
Yes, that is incredibly cinematic. It's giving main character energy. It's giving the summer I turned pretty.
I knew you were going to romanticize that.
Just imagine it. You're sitting there, the embers are floating up into the dark night sky, the waves are gently crashing in the background, you're wrapped in a cozy sweater. I love this for you. It sounds so romantic.
And this right here is exactly why I needed to bring this up with you. Because you provide the idealized cinematic delusion, and I am here to dismantle it with cold, hard, unyielding logistics.
Stop ruining it.
I have to. Let me paint the actual realistic picture of a beach fire pit for you. It is a sensory nightmare masquerading as a Pinterest aesthetic.
It is not a nightmare.
First and foremost, the sand. Sand is insidious. It is not cute.
Okay, sand is annoying, but...
It gets into the food, it coats the rim of your drink, and it gets into unmentionable places that you will be actively finding in your shower drain for 3 to 5 business days.
Okay, the sand is a valid factor, but you sit on a thick blanket. You bring one of those nice, oversized woven blankets, and you create a barrier.
Ah, yes, the blanket defense. Let's explore the blanket.
It's a solid defense.
Who brings the blanket? If I bring the blanket, I am voluntarily sacrificing my personal property to the sand gods. It will never be truly clean again.
You just shake it out.
You never get it all. And then there is the pressure of the outfit. The sartorial anxiety of a beach fire pit is unparalleled.
Oh, come on. You just wear a cute sundress.
But that's the trap. You want to look cute,
right,
you want to look effortless, which, as we know, is the most high-effort aesthetic to achieve.
That is very true.
But the temperature drops drastically by the water the second the sun goes down. So your options are shiver in a cute sundress while pretending you aren't developing hypothermia, or wear a massive oversized hoodie and look like you're about to make a midnight run to a gas station. There's no middle ground.
Okay, I see your point.
Yep.
You do inevitably end up doing that weird, awkward huddle where your front half is roasting like a marshmallow near the flames, and your back half feels like it's in the Arctic tundra.
Exactly. It's a complete thermal imbalance.
A thermal imbalance. Oh, my God.
And the snacks. Who is project managing the snacks? Are we doing s'mores? Because s'mores are incredibly sticky, they require immediate access to wet wipes, which no one ever remembers to bring.
Literally never.
And they inevitably lead to someone dropping a flaming marshmallow into the sand. But all of it pales in comparison to the ultimate horror, the absolute worst-case scenario that I am deeply terrified of encountering.
What could be worse than flaming sandy marshmallows?
Acoustic guitar guy.
Oh, no, not the acoustic guitar guy.
Yes. Because there is always, without fail, one guy at a beach fire pit who views a captive audience as an opportunity for an impromptu concert.
Every single time.
He pulls out a weathered acoustic guitar from a soft case, and suddenly you are trapped. He plays a breathy, slow-tempo cover of Wonderwall or some obscure John Mayer B-side.
And you just have to sit there.
You are socially obligated to stare deeply into the fire and nod your head rhythmically while he makes intense, unblinking eye contact with the women across the flames. I cannot survive it. I do not possess the facial muscles required to fake that level of enjoyment.
You are completely ruining the cinematic illusion for me. But you are so right.
It's awful.
The acoustic guitar guy operates on the psychology of a hostage negotiator. You literally cannot leave because the fire is the only source of light for a mile.
You step away and you're in the void.
Exactly. If you walk away, you step into the pitch black abyss. You are trapped by illumination. Okay, so if the beach fire pit is out, we need to debate the actual ideal summer Friday night. Let's run through the options.
Let's do it.
We have the beach fire pit, which you have aggressively vetoed. We have patio drinks, a boat day, a backyard barbecue, or staying home in the AC with takeout.
Well, patio drinks is a very strong contender, but only if specific parameters are met.
Like what?
There must be adequate shade, and the chairs cannot be those wrought iron metal ones with the grid pattern that permanently brand the back of your thighs when you wear shorts.
Oh, the waffle pattern on the back of the legs?
Yeah.
That is the worst. I am going to vote for patio drinks purely for the aesthetic value, but honestly.
Yeah.
Staying home with a mountain of takeout, the air conditioning blasting at 68 degrees, and firing up a fresh episode of reality TV might actually be the undisputed champion.
It's the ultimate safe space.
It really is. You don't have to perceive anyone, and no one has to perceive you. I want to know what you guys think, though. What is your ultimate summer Friday night? Let us know.
The isolation of AC and reality TV is deeply appealing. Because the performative nature of social settings, like trying to look effortless at a fire pit, is exhausting.
Yeah.
Which actually mirrors the exact psychological trap we are watching unfold on our screens right now.
Yes, because honestly, watching Love Island UK is entirely ruining my expectations of human behavior.
It's a social experiment gone wrong.
Or, at the very least, it's deeply, fundamentally confusing my dating expectations. I am sitting here on my couch, eating my loaded nachos, watching these incredibly attractive people attempt to navigate relationships, and my brain is split in two.
How so?
Half of me is screaming, wow, the bar for male communication is currently located in the Earth's mantle.
It's subterranean.
And the other half is quietly thinking, wow, if a guy with an accent said that deeply toxic line to me, I would probably fall for it immediately.
It's terrifying to confront our own susceptibility. We really have to evaluate what the villa actually represents.
Is it helping or hurting our faith in romance?
Hurting. Obviously hurting. Is it a microcosm of real-world modern dating, just concentrated and heavily tanned? Or is it a highly pressurized, twisted psychological experiment designed by producers to systematically break the human spirit for our entertainment?
Probably the second one.
Definitely the second one.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the communication styles, take someone like Lorenzo. He explicitly stated that the villa is exposure therapy for him.
He literally said that.
He's treating a reality dating show as a clinical trial for his severe avoidant attachment style.
He really is. It makes you wonder how these people function in the wild. Like, which islanders do you think would be absolute unmitigated disasters on real-world dating apps like Hinge or Bumble?
Aiden. Without a shadow of a doubt, Aiden.
100%.
Aiden would be the guy on Hinge who uses the prompt, "I'm just looking for someone genuine and truthful."
And then ghosts you.
Exactly. You match with him, you send a thoughtful message, and he takes 4 full business days to reply, only to hit you with the lowercase "you up" at 11:14 p.m. on a Thursday.
The accuracy of that timestamp is chilling.
He thrives in the gray area. He seeks out ambiguity because ambiguity protects him from accountability. On a dating app, he would be a menace to society.
An absolute menace, the slow fade king. And on the flip side, who do you think is actually equipped to survive outside the villa? Who is thriving in the real world?
Priya. Priya operates like a high-level corporate HR manager.
She does. She's so professional about getting dumped.
She would be terrifying on a dating app in the best way possible. She would match with you, send a calendar invite for a 30-minute coffee screening, and require a LinkedIn connection before agreeing to dinner.
I love her so much.
She is entirely too organized and emotionally regulated for the chaos of modern dating, which tells me she protects her peace flawlessly in the real world.
I respect her game so much. I look at the environment of that villa and I genuinely wonder if either of us would survive a week in there.
Not a chance.
If I got pulled for a chat by a guy I was coupled up with and he looked me in the eye and said he was like open to getting to know other people while holding my hand,
The hand-holding while breaking your heart is wild.
I think I would just walk directly into the ocean. I wouldn't pack my bags. I wouldn't say goodbye. I would just wade into the Mediterranean Sea until I disappeared into the horizon.
I wouldn't make it 48 hours. My patience would evaporate. The very first time a 21-year-old boy looked at me during a disagreement and told me to chill out, production would have to intervene.
Oh, you would end him?
I would either be voted off by the cast for disrupting the peace with a relentless cross-examination, or I would voluntarily self-evict out of pure, unadulterated rage. The sheer lack of emotional regulation in that house would break my brain.
But babes, enough about our questionable decision-making and our hypothetical inability to survive the villa. Let's talk about theirs.
Yes, let's get into it.
Because this recent episode was an absolute masterclass in delusion, betrayal, and high-stakes emotional chaos, we have so much to get into.
Grab your margaritas, because we need to unpack the absolute mess that just unfolded.
We have to start with the most dramatic fallout of the night, which is the highly uncomfortable, incredibly messy triangle of Aiden, Tina, and Yasmin.
The shockwaves from that Never Have I Ever game are still actively rocking the villa.
Okay, let's establish the baseline facts of the incident for you guys. During the game, Aiden answers a question completely truthfully, admitting in front of the entire group that he still has lingering romantic feelings for his ex-partner, Yasmin.
Right in front of everyone.
And Tina, the woman he is currently coupled up with, sitting right there next to him, is furious. She is profoundly humiliated.
As she should be.
And I have to say, my immediate emotional reaction to this, I'm so deeply empathetic to Tina in this specific moment, because looking like a fool in front of an audience, in front of your friends, in front of the cameras, and most importantly, in front of the specific girl who is your direct rival for this man's affection, that is a universally gut-wrenching feeling.
It's the ultimate public shaming.
He humiliated her publicly. Did you catch what she said in the beach hut? She asked, "Do boys not understand how embarrassing that is for me?" And Aiden is just sitting there completely blank, not computing why honesty has backfired.
Well, let's analyze the mechanics of what Aiden's actually doing, because it is insidious.
He really is.
Aiden keeps repeating this defensive mantra. He keeps saying, "I've been nothing but genuine and truthful." He genuinely believes he deserves a gold medal for his honesty.
He wants a parade.
But the irony and the psychology of his behavior is fascinating. He isn't being honest out of integrity. He's being honest because he wants to deliberately live in the gray area. It's a classic case of option paralysis.
Oh, say more about that.
He wants to keep Yasmin on the back burner as a highly viable option, while simultaneously gripping onto Tina as his safety net so he avoids elimination. He is hedging his bets.
Yes, and what makes it so incredibly toxic is the blatant hypocrisy. Because literally hours before that game, he was pulling Tina aside for private chats, looking deeply into her eyes and whispering, "You are my priority. I'm focusing on you."
He fed her exactly what she wanted to hear.
But then, the second the game forces his hand in public, it sounds like if Yasmin simply snapped her fingers, he would go sprinting back to her. You cannot triangulate a woman by telling her she's your priority in private and then publicly broadcast that you want to rerun with your ex. It completely shatters the trust.
It does. But if we pull back and look at the broader narrative arc, we have to acknowledge the absolute, undeniable poetic justice of this entire situation.
Wait, poetic justice?
We cannot forget that Tina literally chose chaos to get here. She stole Aiden.
Okay, that is true. She did.
She pursued him relentlessly, knowing he was entangled with Yasmin. She brought him into her bed, fully aware of the collateral damage it would cause. And the fact that she is now his biggest headache, and he is her biggest headache, is just incredible karmic balance.
It's karma working overtime.
You wanted the man, Tina. You fought for the man. And now you have the man, along with all of his crippling indecision and emotional baggage. Enjoy the prize.
Okay, I hear you on the karma aspect, but I have to push back a little bit. I have to play devil's advocate here.
Go ahead.
Let's look at it objectively. Did Aiden actually do anything technically wrong in that specific moment? He was asked a direct question in a game designed to elicit truth, and he answered it truthfully. Is it possible that Tina is dragging this out and amplifying her outrage purely for screen time because she knows it makes for a compelling television arc?
I see your point, but the issue isn't the technicality of the game. It's not about the fact that he answered truthfully. It's about the massive discrepancy between his private reassurances and his public declaration.
Yeah, the whiplash of it all.
Tina isn't furious about the truth itself. She's furious about the blind side. She's angry that she was led to believe she was secure, only to have the rug pulled out from under her in front of a live studio audience. And honestly, her anger is completely validated by the absolute audacity Aiden displays in the bathroom later that night.
Oh my gosh, the bathroom scene. My jaw was literally on the floor.
Let's break down the psychology of that scene. Aiden is standing at the mirrors, venting to the boys. But he isn't just venting. He is actively playing the victim.
He is playing them like a fiddle.
He is utilizing a classic Darview tactic: deny, attack, and reverse, victim and offender. He is acting like he is a martyr for the truth, completely baffled by Tina's irrational response.
Using air quotes for irrational there.
Exactly. He is trying to build a coalition of support among the men to isolate Tina's feelings. And from across the bathroom, Tina, who can hear every single word of this manipulative sob story, just snaps.
She just loses it.
She yells at the top of her lungs, "Shut the F up."
That was premium, unscripted television, the way the entire room just froze.
You could hear a pin drop.
The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife, because she knew exactly what he was doing. She wasn't going to let him control the narrative and paint her as the hysterical woman while he played the innocent, misunderstood guy. Her reaction was so raw and valid.
It was an incredibly snarky, iconic reality TV moment, I will give you that.
Yeah.
But we have to analyze it through the lens of double standards.
What do you mean?
Because if the genders were reversed in that scenario, if a woman was calmly venting to her friends about a situation, and a man yelled "shut the F up" at her from across a room in an aggressive tone, the reaction would be vastly different.
Wow.
The internet would be flooded with think pieces about verbal aggression and toxic behavior. He would be universally condemned.
Okay, wow. When you frame it like that, that is a really fair point. If Kevin or Tommy yelled that aggressively at Jasmine or Tina, the audience would be demanding their immediate removal from the villa.
It would cross a major line.
So we are definitely operating on a double standard by cheering for her. But at the same time, my emotional side says Aiden really desperately needed to shut up. He does not possess an internal monologue. He doesn't know when to stop talking.
He lacks basic self-preservation instincts. And speaking of men who fundamentally lack the situational awareness of what to say and when to say it, we desperately need to unpack the catastrophic communication breakdown between Jasmine and Kavan.
This was, without a doubt, the most painful, squirm-inducing group chat I have ever subjected myself to watching.
It was hard to get through.
Okay, let's set the scene for you guys. Jasmine and Kavan are having a tense conversation on the daybeds with Samraj and Micah. Jasmine is trying to articulate her perspective about the challenge, but Kavan keeps interjecting.
He won't let her finish a sentence.
He keeps interrupting her flow. Finally, he looks at her and tells her to chill out, and Jasmine's entire demeanor shifts. She sharply, and I mean with absolute chilling precision, looks at him and says, "Don't interrupt me."
The temperature dropped 20 degrees.
And from that second on, the conversation spirals into pure hostility.
It was a masterclass in how to detonate a relationship in under 30 seconds. Let's analyze Kavan's fatal neurological error first.
Please do.
Telling an outspoken, passionate, highly verbal woman to chill out or calm down, is the absolute worst conflict resolution strategy in the history of human interaction.
It has never worked in the history of the world.
It is not a request for calm. It is an invalidation tactic. It shifts the focus from the issue at hand to the woman's emotional reaction, effectively saying, your feelings are disproportionate, you are being hysterical, and I require you to lower your volume so I don't have to deal with the substance of what you're saying.
Exactly.
It triggers the amygdala instantly. It is a linguistic match thrown onto a gasoline fire.
It never, ever works. Has any human being in the history of the world ever been told to chill out and actually relax? No.
It's physically impossible.
It just makes you infinitely more enraged because it's so incredibly dismissive. Jasmine was literally just trying to make a cohesive point, and she gave him a very clear boundary. She explicitly warned him, don't ever do that again, Cav. I'm being serious.
That's true, but we cannot ignore Jasmine's delivery in this equation because her communication style in this moment was deeply problematic as well.
You think so?
She did not approach that conversation with collaborative energy. When she says, don't interrupt me, she doesn't say it like a partner expressing frustration. She says it like a strict school teacher reprimanding a disobedient child in front of the entire class. It wasn't a dialogue. It was an authoritative shutdown.
Okay, she totally sounded like she was handing him detention. And Kavan even articulated that. He literally said, I felt like a kid in school.
Because he was treated like one.
But you have to remember the context here. She is dealing with a 21-year-old boy. He just graduated from his teenage years. His prefrontal cortex is barely finished cooking.
It's basically raw.
He is fundamentally unequipped to handle a woman with her level of intensity and life experience.
Which proves they are fundamentally incompatible at a structural level. But the deeper psychological issue with Jasmine's communication style is that she doesn't actually want a back-and-forth dialogue.
What does she want?
If you look at her track record in the villa, she operates by delivering monologues. She wants to drop her opinion, have it accepted as the absolute undisputed truth, and then end the conversation.
Oh, that's so true. She doesn't want pushback.
Kavan, on the other hand, wants to defend his brother Aiden. He wants to debate the nuances. He wants a two-way street.
That is such a good read. It's like two people trying to build IKEA furniture together without the manual. Jasmine wants someone who is just going to hand her the screws and agree that her way is right. She wants someone obsessed with her who will just nod and say, yes, queen, you are completely right.
And Kavan is not that guy.
He is not a yes man. He is stubborn, he has a strong sense of loyalty to his boys, and he wants to push back. So when they clash, it's an immovable object meeting an unstoppable force. It's an absolute disaster.
It is. And the proof that they are doomed is how they handled the aftermath. The next day, they try to hash it out, and they still cannot reach a functional resolution.
They just hug it out to avoid the fight.
They ended up hugging and moving on because they were emotionally exhausted, not because they actually understood each other's perspectives. That is the definition of a ticking. Well, it's a structural collapse waiting to happen.
A structural collapse. I love that. But if we are talking about structural collapses and monumental clashes, we have to pivot to the fire pit feud. Simba versus Tommy.
The clash of the highly defensive male egos.
Let's set the stage. Simba decides he has had enough. He pulls Tommy back to the fire pit, the literal scene of the crime where this all started, to call him out on his shocking double standards.
It was a bold move.
And before we dive into the psychology, can we just pause to appreciate the sheer poetry of the line? I'd like to have a word with Tommy about his shocking double denim.
The fashion crimes occurring in that villa require their own dedicated psychological evaluation. The double denim was a sartorial cry for help.
It was aggressive. So Simba sits him down and essentially accuses Tommy of being the catalyst for the recent dumpings. He says Tommy's chaotic actions caused a ripple effect that sent Sam, Namibia, and Chitty home.
He laid it all out.
And Tommy's defense mechanism kicks in, and it is insane to watch. Tommy claims he wasn't actually pulling the girls to apologize to them. He was pulling them to make them see his perspective.
This is the exact moment Tommy solidifies his title as the king of the non-apology. What is truly fascinating here is the absolute bulletproof delusion Tommy operates under.
It's astounding.
He conflates PR management with accountability, saying, I'm sorry if you interpreted it that way, or let me explain the logical reasons behind why I disrespected you, is not an apology. It is a defense attorney's opening statement.
It totally is.
Tommy genuinely believed he could go on a press tour around the villa, clear his name, and be absolved of all guilt without ever once having to admit, I was wrong and I hurt you.
Yes. He explicitly tells Simba point blank, I wasn't sorry for what I've done. Then why were you pulling the girls for chats? Were you just summoning them to lecture them?
Apparently so.
It is maddening. But as much as I am raging at Tommy's deflection tactics, we have to talk about Simba's execution. Because Simba came into this confrontation armed with valid, righteous anger, and then he completely, spectacularly fumbled the bag.
He completely surrendered the moral high ground, and it all boils down to emotional dysregulation. Simba's initial argument was flawless. He correctly identified Tommy's tactic of deflecting blame onto others.
He clocked it perfectly.
Simba said, if someone's really taking accountability for their action, do they really need to mention other people? That is an incredibly sharp, insightful read of Tommy's manipulation.
It was a perfect read. He had Tommy dead to rights, but then Simba just lets the frustration overguide his logic.
He lost his cool.
He gets so activated by Tommy acting like a brick wall that he loses his head. He starts pacing around, his voice raises, he's throwing his hands up going, he's an idiot, I can't be asked with this guy. And then he delivers that incredibly dramatic reality TV line, get my name out your mouth, man.
Which is a highly cinematic soundbite, but a tactical failure.
Oh, completely.
Because the second you lose your temper and raise your voice like that, you hand the other person a massive gift. You give them the excuse to completely dismiss your entirely valid, logical points by labeling you as irrational or too emotional.
He gave Tommy an out.
Tommy no longer has to reflect on his toxic behavior because he can just point at Simba and say, look how crazy and aggressive he's acting.
Yeah.
Simba positioned himself as a disappointed father lecturing his son, and it completely backfired.
It's so frustrating to watch because you want Simba to win that argument so badly, but you're right. And honestly, Simba is taking on way too much emotional burden for these dumped islanders.
He is carrying their weight.
He is grieving the loss of his friends, Sam, Mib, Chitty, and because he can't yell at the producers or the voting public, he is projecting all of that grief and anger onto Tommy's bad behavior. He needs a scapegoat.
Exactly. It's displacement. But if we want to examine a situation that involves true, calculated, Machiavellian manipulation, we have to look at the fake romance of Samraj, Priya, and Micah, because this storyline is actual psychological warfare.
Oh, my blood pressure physically spiked during these scenes. I am experiencing absolute, unadulterated rage at Samraj right now.
Let's lay out the factual timeline so we can analyze the severity of the deception. Samraj is currently coupled with Priya.
Right.
However, for days, he has been pulling the boys aside and explicitly stating that Priya gives him the ick. He has complained about her ego, he has complained about her kissing style, he has complained that she is too forward.
He has been so mean about her.
He has made it abundantly clear to anyone with ears that he is actively repulsed by this woman.
And yet, when Priya, who by the way is operating with the grace and composure of an absolute saint, pulls him for a chat, she acts like a mature adult. She facilitates her own dumping to save him the trouble.
She did all the hard work for him.
She literally hands him the easiest exit strategy on a silver platter. She says, I know your head is turning toward Micah. I am not interested in competing in a triangle, so I am removing myself from the equation. She hands him his freedom.
And how does he respond to this incredibly mature off-ramp? He cowardly, blatantly lies to her face. He looks at her and says, I don't think we should close the door. If Micah wasn't here, we'd be going from strength to strength. He actively refuses to take the out.
I was screaming at the television. Why would he trap himself in a lie when she gave him permission to leave?
Because Samraj is suffering from a terminal case of nice guy syndrome, which in reality is just a cloak for deep-seated cowardice and image management.
Wow, that is heavy.
He is terrified of being perceived as the villain by the public. He knows a public vote is imminent. If he ruthlessly dumps Priya, who is respected, mature, and likely a fan favorite, for the shiny new bombshell, he knows he will look shallow and callous. The audience will punish him.
So he's just playing a game.
But if he keeps Priya on the hook, if he acts torn and conflicted, he thinks it makes him look sensitive and complex. He is using Priya as a human shield to survive the vote.
It is so incredibly dark when you break it down like that. He is playing with her emotions to secure his spot in a villa. And poor Priya has absolutely no idea. She is sitting there being understanding and accommodating because she is entirely unaware of the absolute trash he's been talking behind her back.
It's a ticking time bomb.
Just imagine the fallout when movie night happens, when the producers inevitably roll the tapes and Priya has to sit there and watch high-definition footage of him telling the boys she gives him the ick. The devastation is going to be biblical.
The editing team is going to have a field day. They are actively stockpiling ammunition for his downfall, And frankly, the fact that he is still engaging in physical intimacy with Kriya under the covers at night, while simultaneously telling the boys during the day that he is repulsed by her, that crosses a line from strategic gameplay into deeply unethical behavior. You cannot compartmentalize a human being like that.
It is infuriating. It really is. But you know what wasn't infuriating? The absolute shining beacon of light in this episode. The heart rate challenge.
Ah, yes. The iconic, pulse-raising, universally humiliating rite of passage returns.
The girls showed OUT. We need to really dissect these performances because there is so much unspoken psychology and hidden tension baked into the choreography. Let's start with Ellie.
Ellie understood the assignment. She made a jaw-dropping entrance in a bold red outfit. She didn't hesitate. She zeroed right in on Finley, straddled him, and delivered a highly aggressive, incredibly confident routine. It was exactly what she needed to do to establish dominance and stake her claim.
I was cheering for her. She was exuding main character energy. She knew exactly what she wanted, and she went for it. And it is so obvious that Finley is completely enamored with her. The physical chemistry there is undeniable. You can't fake that kind of visceral reaction. But then we pivot to Jasmine.
Jasmine, who decided to utilize her solo spotlight to orchestrate a highly tense, incredibly awkward psychological experiment. She pulls Lorenzo, her former Day One partner, and Kavan, her current highly volatile partner, and performs a sandwich dance perfectly positioned between the two of them.
It was chaotic. She intentionally had her back to Lorenzo while dancing for Kaman. The eye contact, the physical proximity, the tension, and Lorenzo was eating it up. He was making those wide-eyed, overwhelmed faces he does whenever drama is happening near him.
What is fascinating here isn't just the dance, it's the strategic aftermath. Later that night, Jasmine is up on the terrace with the girls, and Lorenzo is down below in the garden. And they are silently waving and gesturing to each other across the distance. It is undeniable that there is a magnetic pull between them. They are actively playing in Kavan's face. Jasmine is using the sanctioned environment of a challenge to test the waters with Lorenzo without explicitly breaking the rules of her current coupling. It's a loophole for flirtation.
Oh, absolutely. She is dropping breadcrumbs for Lorenzo to follow. But wait, before we analyze the guys' reactions, we have to talk about the greatest injustice of the entire season, the absolute robbery of Angelista.
This is where we uncover a full-blown production conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy. Okay, so Angelista comes out for her turn, and based on the cast reaction, she completely obliterated the competition. The entire villa, every single boy and girl, is out of their seats screaming her name. Jasmine literally turns to her and says, "You put us to shame." Angelista brought a massive cake pop. She brought the rhythm. She was the undisputed MVP of the night, and the producers actively hid her routine.
It was a masterclass in the invisible hand of reality TV editing. They completely edited around her. The camera kept cutting away to wide shots or focusing entirely on the boys' chalked facial expressions. They deliberately starved the audience of her performance. And this raises a crucial analytical question: why? Why obscure the best performance? The internet has been theorizing endlessly. Some argue that because Angelista is generally perceived as a quiet character in the daily narrative, production didn't want to dedicate prime airtime to her.
I think it's entirely about storyline economy. Production has a very specific narrative they want to push right now. They want the audience focused on the messy triangles, on Tina and Aiden, on Jasmine and Kavan, on Samraj's lies. If they show Angelista being the absolute hottest, most charismatic girl in the villa, the audience is going to demand more screen time for her. And production doesn't have a storyline ready for her since she and Simba are basically flatlining. They are suppressing her popularity to maintain control of the narrative. It is a crime.
The manipulation of screen time is the ultimate power in that villa.
Yeah.
Moving on from the suppressed MVP, we had Yasmin, who delivered a routine that was less seductive and more enthusiastic.
She gave major drunk girl having the time of her life at the club vibes. They played a Sabrina Carpenter track for her, which is perfect because she has that exact aesthetic. She was skipping around giggling. But the critical plot point here, she ended up making out with Lorenzo on the grass. The avoidant king strikes again.
The plot thickens. And then we had Priya, who proved to be a surprisingly fantastic dancer, but unfortunately wasted entirely too much kinetic energy trying to elicit a reaction from Samraj, who we know is actively deceiving her. And finally, Tina, who closed out the event with a performance that can only be described as narratively stagnant.
It gave absolutely nothing. She teased a kiss with Aiden, pulled back, and saved Tommy for last. It was just going through the motions. But watching all of these women pour their energy into these routines really forced me to transition my thinking. I stopped analyzing the dances and I started questioning the baseline subjects.
Explain me.
I started questioning the baseline hotness of the men in this villa because we are looking at them under optimal conditions. They are wearing costumes, they are illuminated by multi-million-dollar villa lighting, they have the accents. But if you strip all of that away, are they actually attractive? Or are we, as viewers, being manipulated by the environment?
Oh, this is a brilliant pivot. This transitions us perfectly into our first official segment of the chat. Welcome to segment 1. Shady, snarky, or stupid.
Here's how this works. We are going to isolate 3 of the absolute messiest, most chaotic moments from this episode, and we are going to aggressively debate which category they belong in. Was the decision calculated and shady? Was it a brilliant, cutting moment of being snarky? Or was it just fundamentally, undeniably stupid?
I would present Exhibit A, moment number 1. Samraj sitting down with Priya and actively telling her he wants to keep the door open when she explicitly tries to end their triangle. Shady, snarky, or stupid?
Okay, I'm going to plant my flag and argue that this is fundamentally stupid because, as we discussed earlier, the existence of movie night is an inevitable reality of this franchise. The producers are literally sitting in an editing bay right now, compiling a supercut of him complaining about Priya, saying she gives him the ick, and dodging her physical affection. When that footage is broadcast on a giant screen in front of the entire cast, his lie is going to be exposed in the most explosive, humiliating way possible. If he possessed any foresight, he would take the out she offered him to minimize the damage. By lying, he is walking blindly into a trap. It is a stupid, short-sighted gamble.
I hear your logic, but I completely disagree with your conclusion. It is not stupid, because Samraj isn't thinking 3 weeks ahead to movie night. He is thinking 3 days ahead to the public vote. This is purely shady. Samraj is a master manipulator of his own optics. He knows that the demographic watching this show responds better to a man who is torn between 2 amazing connections than a man who ruthlessly discards a sweet girl. It is a calculated, deeply shady maneuver designed entirely to protect his personal brand and secure his tenure in the villa. He is using Priya's dignity to buy himself time.
Ugh, when you dissect it like that, it reveals how dark his strategy really is. You're right, it's peak shady behavior. Okay, let's move to moment number 2. Kavan looking at Jasmine during a heated argument and telling her to chill out. Shady, snarky, or stupid?
This might be the easiest consensus we reach all night. It is unanimously, irrefutably stupid. As we established, deploying that phrase against a fiery woman is a linguistic death sentence. What makes it specifically uniquely stupid for Kavan is that he already possesses the data on Jasmine's personality. He knows she is passionate, he knows she demands to be heard, and he knows she has a zero-tolerance policy for disrespect. He essentially looked at a sleeping bear, acknowledged it was a bear, and decided to poke it directly in the eye with a stick. It demonstrates a complete absence of situational awareness and emotional intelligence. His prefrontal cortex failed him.
I am in complete agreement. 100% stupid. He signed the death warrant for that relationship the millisecond those words left his mouth. Okay, moment number 3. This is the highly debated one. Tina yelling "shut the F up" at Aiden from across the bathroom while he is trying to spin a victim narrative to the boys. Shady, snarky, or stupid?
I will take the controversial stance here. I believe it falls into the snarky category, but it crosses a line into problematic territory that ultimately harms her own case. It was a spectacular piece of television, yes. But as we discussed regarding the double standard, it was a visceral, unchecked emotional reaction. From a logical standpoint, it was a mistake, because it gives Aiden the exact ammunition he needs to paint her as the unreasonable, aggressive one in the relationship. She played right into the narrative he was trying to build.
See, I completely disagree. I think it was the most flawlessly executed snarky moment of the entire season, and I stand by it. You have to evaluate the context of the emotional abuse she's enduring. Aiden has been gaslighting her, isolating her reality by telling her she's his priority in private while humiliating her in public. And now he's hiding in the bathroom, attempting to rewrite history and turn the entire male cast against her with a fabricated sob story. Yelling at him wasn't a loss of emotional control, it was the establishment of a boundary. It was her saying, "I hear you, I see the manipulation you are attempting, and I am refusing to let you control the narrative in this room." It was sharp, it was necessary, and it was iconic.
I respect the passionate defense of her boundary setting, even if I think it was tactically flawed in a house monitored by cameras. But your earlier point about the men's attractiveness transitions us perfectly into our next segment, segment 2. Hot or just tall?
Yes. This is the ultimate reality check. The premise here is simple. We're going to strip away the magical villa lighting, we ignore the slow-motion stylized entrances, and we block out the charm of the accents. We're going to look at these men objectively and ask the tough question. Are they actually physically attractive, or are we just easily impressed by men who clear 6'2" in height?
The height halo effect is a heavily documented psychological phenomenon, and the casting directors of Love Island weaponize it brilliantly. We conflate physical stature with competence, strength, and desirability. Let's start with our favorite walking contradiction, Aiden. Hot or just tall?
Okay, this is genuinely tough because my initial visceral reaction when he walked into the villa on day one was, wow, he's objectively gorgeous. But now, having observed his personality, watching him constantly exist in the gray area, witnessing his inability to communicate directly, seeing his perpetual victim complex, the physical attraction is plummeting rapidly. I think he's currently benefiting from a massive optical illusion of desirability. The fact that two very beautiful women, Tina and Yasmin, are actively fighting over him makes him appear infinitely more desirable as a viewer. We subconsciously assume, well, if they want him so badly, he must possess some hidden value. It's social proofing.
That is a phenomenal application of behavioral economics. It is textbook social proofing. His value in the villa economy is artificially inflated by the high demand. If you stripped away the manufactured drama of two women fighting over him and you just sat across from him at a local coffee shop while he gave you non-committal, vague answers about what he wanted to do that weekend, you would be incredibly bored. He has height, he has good hair, but the personality creates a massive, insurmountable deficit. So the official verdict, just tall, socially proved.
Agreed. Okay, let's look at Islander number 2. Tommy. Hot or just tall?
This is a classic manifestation of the bad boy confidence illusion. Tommy operates with an entirely unearned, baffling level of swagger. He walks around the communal spaces like he holds the deed to the property. He justifies his toxic behavior with absolute conviction, and he refuses to apologize. To a certain demographic of viewer, and clearly to certain women inside the villa, that total lack of accountability reads as rugged masculinity and unwavering confidence.
It triggers the I can fix him reflex. Women see a guy who refuses to apologize and their brain misinterprets it, thinking he's so strong, he stands his ground, he isn't a pushover. No, he is just incredibly stubborn and fundamentally lacks empathy. When I watched him standing by the fire pit in that horrendous double denim outfit, arguing with Simba and refusing to yield, the illusion shattered for me. I realized he is not actually that hot. He just possesses the sheer audacity of a very tall man who has rarely been told no.
Audacity is very frequently mistaken for charisma. They mimic each other, but only one has substance. Verdict for Tommy, just tall and audacious. Which brings us to our final subject, Lorenzo. Hot or just tall?
Okay, I have to confess, I have a massive soft spot for Lorenzo. I genuinely think he's hot. And ironically, it's precisely because he is so delightfully awkward and unsure of himself. He makes those wide-eyed, panicked faces. He quietly lurks in the background when drama erupts. He feels like a real, flawed human being compared to the polished reality stars around him.
But we have to analyze the psychology of Lorenzo's behavior. Lorenzo is treating this entire experience as a clinical trial. He literally confessed to Yasmin that if they were dating in the outside world and things started getting cutesy or intimate, his immediate instinct would be to run away. He's a self-admitted chronic ghoster. He is the archetype of the guy who vanishes into thin air after 3 incredible dates because the prospect of emotional intimacy triggers a fight-or-flight response.
Yes, that's true, but the key difference is that he is self-aware about it. He recognizes his avoidant attachment style, and he's actively, publicly trying to fight his own toxic instincts in real time on national television. There's something deeply endearing about a guy who admits his flaws and tries to stay in the room anyway. Plus, you cannot deny the raw chemistry he had with Jasmine during that sandwich dance. You can't manufacture that kind of tension. Verdict: genuinely hot, but emotionally unavailable.
A highly dangerous, highly addictive combination. Which leads us perfectly into segment 3, the Villa Summer Awards.
It is time to hand out some highly specific, slightly insulting, but entirely accurate superlatives to our cast members. Let's start with the heavy hitter, most likely to ghost someone.
The winner is, without a doubt, Lorenzo. We just outlined the evidence. He literally handed us a signed confession on a silver platter. When a man looks you in the eye and tells you if things got cute on the outside, I would run, you must believe him. When this show wraps and the obligatory press tour concludes, he's going to leave a trail of unread iMessages and confused women in his wake.
Oh, absolutely. He is the guy who will post a cryptic Instagram story from an airport lounge and then never reply to your text asking if he landed safely. Okay, next award. Most likely to text you up at 2 a.m.
This was a fiercely competitive category, but the winner is clearly Sam Raj.
Yes. Walk us through the analysis on this one.
Sam Raj is a coward who cannot tolerate the finality of a closed door. We saw the exact mechanism play out with Priya. He claims to have the ick, he acts physically repulsed, yet he practically begs to keep the door open. He is terrified of burning a bridge because his ego requires a constant roster of fallback options to validate his worth. On the outside, he's exactly the archetype of a guy who will ignore your existence for 3 weeks, see you post a fire selfie on your story, and immediately slide into your DMs at 2:14 a.m. with the lowercase u up text, purely to test if he still has access to your attention.
That is so agonizingly accurate, it hurts to think about. He is the undisputed king of the fallback text.
Okay, moving on. Most likely to be back with their ex in 3 weeks.
We have a rare tie in this category. It has to go to Jasmine and Lorenzo. The sandwich dance sealed their fate. The sexual tension was palpable through the screen. You can analyze their current couplings and see the frustration building. Jasmine is exhausted by Kavan, telling her to chill out, and Lorenzo is openly admitting he's getting bored playing it safe. They are inevitably going to gravitate back toward each other's orbit. It might be incredibly messy, it might cause collateral damage that blows up the entire villa dynamics, but they are absolutely spinning back to each other.
They are a gravitational inevitability. And finally, our last award of the evening. Most likely to become a full-time influencer.
Oh, this is the easiest one on the board, Tina.
100%. Tina was put on this earth and specifically cast on this television program to secure lucrative brand deals. I am fully convinced she was cast purely for her ability to rage bait Aiden and generate highly shareable viral TikTok clips. The way she handled the bathroom screaming match, that wasn't just raw anger. That was a masterfully executed audition for a Pretty Little Thing sponsorship. She understands the assignment. She knows exactly how to play the cameras. She knows how to deliver a memorable soundbite. And the second she steps out of those villa doors, she is dropping a 20% off discount code for a teeth whitening kit.
And I will use that code. I respect the hustle. She's providing premium, top-tier entertainment, and she deserves compensation for her emotional labor. But analyzing their post-villa careers brings us to our final segment. Segment 4, the Love Island reality check.
It is time to separate the hopeless romantics from the fast fashion opportunists. We need to look at this cast and decide who is actually in this villa to forge a genuine connection, and who is simply managing their screen time to maximize their follower count. Let's start with the eternal question. Who is genuinely looking for love?
Okay, I'm going to hold on to my optimism here. I genuinely believe Lola and Sean are looking for love. They are the only day one couple still surviving in the villa. During the heart rate challenge, Sean was literally gagging when Lola walked out in that bridal lingerie. He turned to the boys and said, I need to hurry up and marry this girl. They might not be providing the explosive, screaming match drama that the producers want, but I think they are building a real quiet foundation. I am rooting for them.
Your hopefulness is charming, but it blinds you to the reality of their dynamic. They are painfully, excruciatingly boring. Being a surviving day one couple doesn't automatically equate to being in love. It frequently just means you are a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You've invested too much time to pivot. Sean himself practically admitted he went exclusive too early. He is experiencing buyer's remorse. He realized he locked himself out of the dating game before Casa Amor even arrived. They aren't in love. They are comfortably mutually trapped by their own premature commitment.
You are so cynical. Okay, fine. If they are trapped, who do you think is purely, unapologetically looking for screen time?
Tommy. Every single action that man takes is a calculated maneuver to keep himself positioned dead center in the narrative. The double talk with multiple girls, the inflammatory non-apologies, the deliberate provocations of Simba, he is producing his own storyline. He understands the reality TV algorithm. Villains get airtime, and airtime converts to followers. He does not care about finding a connection. He cares entirely about his camera count and his post-show relevance.
I cannot even formulate an argument against that. Tommy is a reality TV mercenary.
Right.
Okay, who is doomed? Who has absolutely zero chance of surviving on the outside?
Jasmine and Kevin. We have thoroughly dissected their communication failures, but the core truth remains. They cannot agree on the basic rules of engagement for an argument. If you cannot fight productively, you cannot date successfully. They are structurally unsound.
Totally doomed. But let's end this on a positive note. Who, surprisingly, might actually make it work?
Surprisingly, I am going to say Ellie and Finley.
Yes. The heart rate challenge proved it. The chemistry when she walked out in that red outfit, the way they look at each other across the fire pit, It feels incredibly easy. It feels natural. They aren't forcing the drama for the cameras, and they aren't engaging in those circular, exhausting, emotionally draining conversations like Aiden and Tina. They're simply enjoying each other's presence.
It is the one connection in the entire villa that doesn't feel like it requires a United Nations peacekeeper to mediate. So yes, begrudgingly, I will admit they might actually have a fighting chance.
I love that for them. And that brings us to the end of our spiraling for tonight. But before we let you go, we need you to sound off in the comments, in the DMs, in the reviews.
We have assigned you a significant amount of homework tonight.
We really have. First, tell us, would you brave the sand and the acoustic guitar guy to attend a beach fire pit, or are you staying home in the air conditioning? Second, which islander do you think is the absolute messiest right now? Is it Samraj with his fake nice guy routine, or Tommy with his PR non-apologies? Third, which couple are you begrudgingly rooting for? And finally, what is your actual, undeniable, perfect summer Friday night?
We read every single comment, so please validate our existence and our theories.
And if you loved listening to us spiral tonight, please hit that subscribe button, leave us a glowing 5-star review. It truly helps us so much. And share the show with another messy babe in your life who loves reality TV chaos just as much as we do. Send it directly to your group chat.
But before we officially sign off, I want to leave you with one final psychological concept to consider. Something to mull over while you're inevitably scrolling through Hinge later tonight. We look at these islanders, men like Lorenzo who openly admit they ghost the second intimacy builds, or men like Samraj who are terrified of honest communication because it might damage their perceived image. And I have to ask, are we simply watching a dating show designed to foster romance? Or are we actively consuming a real-time, high-budget sociological study of modern avoidant attachment styles? And if toxic avoidant behavior is literally rewarded with Instagram followers, brand deals, and cultural relevance, are we, the viewers, the ones creating the very monsters we love to snark on?
Oh, wow. That is deeply unsettling. I am going to be thinking about our complicity in that cycle all night. On that slightly terrifying note, stay messy, stay sun-kissed, and we'll see you on the snark side.
Stay messy, stay sun-kissed, and we'll see you on the snark side.